Hello my friends, today I will be talking about the state of Micro Four Thirds system in 2020. I bought my first Micro Four Thirds camera in early 2017. Back then Micro Four Thirds offered a lot of new technologies such as 4K video and sensor stabilization with very affordable prices. Since then the technological development has slowed down a bit and the system was kind of split to consumer and professional part. In this video we will take a look at both sides of Micro Four Thirds system in 2020, and I will try to help you decide whether you should get into Micro Four Thirds system, continue using it, or maybe choose something else. Micro Four Thirds system is defined by the sensor size, so let's talk about that first. For consumers, it makes sense because it makes the camera smaller and ultimately cheaper, whilst keeping better feature set such as in-body image stabilization and 4K video. It also makes sense for professional use because it requires less processing power, produces less heat, and so on. Thanks to that, manufacturers can more easily implement very advanced features such as 10-bit 422 DCI recording, unlimited 4K 60p, high-resolution image stacking, and so on. I shoot a lot of video with Micro Four Thirds cameras, and Panasonic is in my opinion utilizing professional advantages of Micro Four Thirds system on the video side more. On the consumer side, not that much has happened since 2017 with the exception of Panasonic GX9. That is in my opinion still one of the best consumer still cameras on the market under $1,000. It uses newish 20.2 megapixel sensor, new color processing, it is light and compact, and I also like the handling a lot. The in-body image stabilization is only rated for 4 stops, but it is still significantly better than 5-stop in-body image stabilization in Sony cameras. It is compromised on video side with additional 1.26x 4K crop and old autofocus system, but it still shoots very nice 1080p video. It has some downsides, such as the battery life and poor electronic viewfinder, but if you want a camera for traveling or taking pictures of your family, I still highly recommend GX9. The other camera that was introduced was Panasonic G90 or G95, and that was unfortunately a big disappointment. It is basically more expensive and larger GX9 with some advantages, but in my opinion it is not a worthy successor of very popular G85. If you want to mainly shoot 4K video, G85 is actually better camera than the G95, again because of the additional 1.26x crop. The autofocus in 4K video is the same as with the G85. G95 is still a good stills camera if you want a good handling and weather sealing. It basically uses parts from older cameras, including micro USB in 2019, and it introduced absolutely no innovation. G85 is now very affordable, it shoots very nice 4K video with quite minor crop, excellent 1080p video, it has great handling, and it is weather sealed. It uses older 16 megapixel sensor, but for consumer use it is still more than good enough. I think that the G85 is one of the best cameras in the price category, and I would recommend it over the G95. Fortunately, Panasonic partially fixed the G95 situation by lowering the price of the G9, which became an incredible value with firmware 2.0. I don't have one anymore because I wanted to use advanced video features in GH5, but assuming that the 10-bit video is similar to the GH5, it is an incredible value. It has great controls, great stabilization, high-resolution viewfinder, 4K 60p, and so on. It also has pretty good autofocus, especially after the firmware updates. It is still one of the most complete cameras on the market, and almost a no-brainer under $1,000. I have recently made 2020 update video of Panasonic GH5, concluding that it is a very relevant camera in 2020, and it will stay relevant for a long time. It is still one of the most popular all-round cameras on the market with great video features such as 4K 10-bit 422, 4K 60p with no limit, and so on. The autofocus was also massively improved by firmware updates, and now it is kind of GH5.5, which is why it is so relevant even in 2020. There aren't really too many clues that would give up its age. It lacks the internal battery charging, but it still has dual UHS-2 card slots, and it has better EVF and display than some cameras released in 2020, great in-body image stabilization, and so on. Most importantly, it has fast IMX272 sensor with full sensor readout at 60p, which makes it still the only mirrorless camera on the market with no crop 4K 60p. Basically, the only things that the new Micro Four Thirds sensor needs in my opinion is backside illumination and maybe even faster readout and 14-bit capabilities. There are some rumors about new 41 megapixel sensor. I don't think that it will happen, and it contradicts what I have heard about the future of Micro Four Thirds from relevant sources. I also hope that it won't happen because it doesn't make much sense. Pixel density at that resolution would be immense, and there are no lenses that can render that much resolution per inch. I think that 20.2 megapixel is a good compromise. Even if Panasonic had to keep the GH5 sensor, it can still shoot 5.2K 60p RAW video, which would be in my opinion sufficient upgrade. Having said that, backside illumination for better low-light performance and dynamic range would be great. All four cameras with the new 20.2 megapixel sensor, so the GH5, G9, GX9 and G95 already take very nice stills. 20.2 megapixels is more than enough for social media, personal use, digital publishing, small to medium size printing and so on. Dynamic range on this Micro Four Thirds sensor is in my opinion very good. The shadow recovery is actually really good. I have shot a lot of sunset scenes with this sensor, and I am always happy with the amount of information that I can get out of both highlights and shadows. Of course, it is not like full frame, you can't push it quite as much, but it should be okay for a majority of situations. The low light is not great of course. ISO 1600 to 3200 is as high as I would go in most situations, although low dynamic range concert type scenes might be okay up to ISO 12800. In comparison with the newest aps-c IMX571 sensor, it loses of course. There is more than one stop difference because that is larger and backside illuminated sensor, so overall I would say that the backside illumination is the key feature that I hope to see in the newest Micro Four Thirds sensor. Video has always been a strength of Micro Four Thirds cameras, and it is definitely the feature that pushed the whole system towards the professional use. Panasonic was able to take an advantage of lower processing requirements of smaller Micro Four Thirds sensor and be the first to bring 4K video in mirrorless camera, 4K 60p, and so on. Now we know that Micro Four Thirds will not be the first mirrorless system to offer RAW video, and larger systems have also caught up in other areas, which is a bit disappointing. Technology is moving forward, which is why aps-c has caught up with 4K 60p, which you can even shoot in DCI and 10-bit on X-T3 and X-T4, even though there is a slight crop. GH5 and GH5S are still great video cameras, but it is time to utilize new technology, upgrade video specs beyond 4K, and use professional codecs. The autofocus on Panasonic cameras still has a bit of bad reputation, but fortunately it was significantly improved. Panasonic GH5, GH5S and the G9 have pretty good autofocus. The speed and accuracy are basically not a problem. For something like vlogging, the autofocus is completely fine. The only issue left is that slight back and forth movement as the camera finishes the focus transition. It is not terrible, but it is clearly visible, so I probably wouldn't use it for commercial shooting with focus transitions. GX9, G95 and G85 use the old 49-point autofocus system, which is still good for stills, okay for 1080p video, but quite bad in 4K video. The stabilization is still one of the main reasons to get Panasonic or Olympus Micro Four Thirds camera. Even the GX9 with in-body image stabilization rated for 4 stops has better stabilization than Sony a6600. In-body image stabilization can largely compensate for the low-light capabilities of Micro Four Thirds sensor if you are shooting non-moving subjects. 6.5 stop in-body image stabilization in the G9 is excellent, and possibly my most favorite thing about the G9 overall. 5.5 stop in-body image stabilization in the GH5 is already great. Especially in combination with lens stabilization, it is quite amazing. In-body image stabilization gets less effective with longer focal lengths, where the optical image stabilization in the lens is better option, so even if you have camera with in-body image stabilization, I recommend using Panasonic stabilized lenses if possible. It still makes a big difference. Speaking about the lenses, just like with the bodies, the lenses can basically be divided into two separate categories. Panasonic makes a couple of really nice entry-level lenses, such as the 12-60mm kit lens or 20mm f1.7. These are small, budget-friendly, and they have decent optical characteristics. To be honest, they have some of that smartphone look, but they are good all-round entry-level choices. Then there are some lenses that are definitely a level above that, such as the Leica 12-60, Leica 8-18, or Lumix 12-35mm f2.8. These are the typical workhorse lenses with very pleasant optical character and good size to performance ratio. I still like to use these lenses, but recently I am having a bit of dilemma. These lenses will absolutely get the job done, but I'm not sure whether they are particularly special. That is why I'm considering getting Sigma 18-35mm f1.8 and the speed booster again, because that is a very special combination. There are also some Micro Four Thirds lenses that are special. Of course, the first one is 10-25mm f1.7. It is one of a kind lens with extremely useful 20-50mm full frame equivalent field of view, wide aperture, and great optical characteristics. The second really special Micro Four Thirds lens is 50-200 f2.8-4. Being just 13 cm long, this lens has incredible size to performance ratio. It has very nice rendition of bokeh, it is an excellent semi-macro lens, and the dual stabilization in combination with the G9 is excellent. This is extremely versatile, portable, and in my opinion quite special lens. I have recently also been using 3 Pergear manual focus lenses. These have very interesting sort of vintage feel, they are very pleasant to use, they have super smooth rings, and I was very pleasantly surprised by the optical qualities. Especially the 25mm f1.8 is very sharp, it has great rendition of bokeh, and much nicer character than Panasonic 25mm f1.7. I also have the other two, so the 35mm f1.6 and 50mm f1.8, and I will make a review of those two in the future. To sum up, Micro Four Thirds is in my opinion still a good choice for consumers. GX9, G85 and even G95 if you can get a good price, are compact cameras capable of taking very nice stills and video without spending a lot of money. Especially the GX9 with 20.2 megapixel sensor is a great choice for personal use, traveling, and so on. Basically the only real downside of these cameras at that price point is poor autofocus system in 4K video and low light conditions. On the professional side, Panasonic GH5 and GH5S are still very capable video cameras. Having said that, the competitors with larger sensors have almost caught up, so it is a time to innovate if Panasonic wants to stay ahead. Both GH5 and GH5S are complete cameras, which is very important. They will eventually get cheaper and become great cameras for lower budget. G9 is the perfect cross between the consumer and professional side of Micro Four Thirds system, and at that price point, basically a no-brainer. Regarding the lenses, I would probably like to see more special lenses. Maybe some f1.2 lenses, maybe 25-50mm f1.7, or maybe something else. So that's it for this video, thank you for watching, I hope that you liked this video and that you have found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.